What's up, guys? It's Drifts and Lifts here. Alright, so today is the day that some of you have been waiting for. We're finally going to install a set of modded knuckles in Scott's car. So what we're doing right now is we're removing the knuckle from the car, and we're going to leave Scott's car here. And me and Scott are going to hop in the black wagon, Gordon, as most of you would know it as. And then we're going to head down to my good friend Aaron Glendon's shop, just about a half an hour away from here. And he has made a knuckle jig from the knuckles that I had in the 940 way back in the day. Those are probably my favorite set of knuckles that I've had in a Volvo. They got crazy steering angle and not too much ackerman. So he made a jig to essentially replicate those knuckles. So we're gonna pull these out of Scott's, and I also have one more set hanging out with Aaron right now that he hasn't got around to, and he's going to be modding those for the A tractor. So I'm going to be putting those in the Volvo drift truck, and then I'll have knuckles for the event this weekend in Agassiz, and also 2 weekends after that at the Matsuri. The truck's going to be getting some mad angle. So I'm pretty stoked. Scott, are you pretty stoked?
Hype.
Yeah, mad hype, yeah. Extra angle. He's going to be able to throw this thing around pretty darn good. So yeah, we're going to head over there, and I'm basically going to show you guys go step by step kind of how Aaron does it and what it looks like, and I'll probably compare the two, like a stock knuckle compared to a modded one, so it can give you guys an idea kind of, you know, how it's done if you want to go about doing that yourself. So yeah, should be a fun little video. We'll see how she goes. Aaron Glendon's in the house. Look at this thing. Dude, so good. So good.
Like so slow and low.
Low and slow. It's one of a kind, this truck, man. Yeah. So it's like 90s mini trucking scene. Alright guys, so we are in the Dungeon of Angle. It's a new name for this place. So basically what we have right now is this strut assembly with the ball joint holes right here bolted into Aaron's jig that he made. So it's basically just a plate, and he copied the knuckles that used to be in the 940 back in the day. Those are the ones that Cody Ross made. Cody's actually going to be coming up to the Matsuri and drifting his car. So we're going to have, you know, 3 cars with basically the same kind of knuckle setup.
Should be good.
Yeah, so if we look right here, you'll see that hole right in the jig right there. Yeah, right there. So essentially, if you look, this is way farther out that way. So as you move this tie rod attachment point inwards, then that means the more, or the same amount of steering rack travel is going to make it turn a lot more, just because of where the pivot point is now. So I guess essentially we're taking off about 1 inch from...
Yeah, it ended up being perfect on the dot, 1.25 inches.
Yeah, so 1.25 inches.
From the ABS sensor outside, 1.25 inches this ways. We end up cutting around here. We'll show you at the final end where it all ends up.
Yeah, so you don't want to go too far, or else, you know, you'll hit a point where the knuckle has traveled as far as it can go essentially, and your steering rack is just pushing it and it's not going any more angle. So that's what they call over center. So then you lose compression in your steering rack because it's pushing against something that can't go any farther, essentially, right?
The backwards elbow.
Yeah, backwards elbow, exactly. So if we compare this knuckle, here's the stock one, and here's the two that Aaron already welded up. Right here, I'll flip this one over. So you can see that it's a lot shorter from where the ball joint attachment point is. It's about, you know, like I said, I shortened it about 1 inch and a quarter.
Not 2 quarters. That's a half.
So there we go. There's our mark. From here to here, Aaron's going to cut one right there and one right there, and then he's going to take that piece that he now cut off, and move it inwards and essentially weld it.
And then, if people are doing this themselves, you gotta knock this out.
Which is that
ring.
right here?
Yeah. Just, I think it's where the front of the ABS sensor
Oh,
goes,
weird.
right? Ooh, before I knock it out, yeah, Scott's got the light. You can see her there? Because if that's in there, you could not physically weld it.
Really, hey?
Yeah, it interferes too much and like tries to pop
I
through
see.
all the steel weld.
Interesting. Oh wow. I didn't even notice that.
The thing's barely even in there. Like it's only got maybe 1/4 inch.
So that's just like a sleeve for the ABS, whatever.
Snout of it
ABS sensor, yeah. So these are ABS knuckles, guys. I should mention that. Some of the older style with non-ABS, they won't have this hole right here. So Aaron essentially just filled the hole. Yeah.
If you can go with non-ABS knuckles, it would be better.
Yeah, that's what the other ones were, but the
we're
knuckle.
just fucking pounding her in there.
Yeah, this is all we had laying around. Most Volvo 740s that I've seen come with ABS, so it's not very often you find the non-ABS ones, at least in Canada here. I think the older style were more common to be non-ABS.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And Cody's car was an older style.
It was, yeah, that's right. Yeah. No need for ABS, we just take it out anyways, but it's gives you that hole in the knuckle there. Right on, so yeah, as you can see, when we had the stock knuckle on this jig, before Aaron cut it, the stock tie rod was, you know, 1.5 inches.
This piece.
Yeah, this piece. So we just basically cut that out. And then he's welding it up. And so these are the truck knuckles, so we're going with a little bit less ackerman. Nice.
It's like little fucking elkhorns for you.
Perfect.
Got tons of those for you.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Aaron's just gonna be producing Volvo knuckles all day. Everybody's gonna want a set now.
Oh yeah. Everyone and their grandma.
Yeah, exactly. Grandma's got a 740, like, oh, I want to turn into parking stalls better.
It'll make grocery getting way better for
Dude,
you,
yeah.
Grandma.
Oh man. Then worst case, she like, you know, driving on a snowy highway, gets mad buck, and then she has like more angle to save herself so she doesn't spin off and die. Yeah.
Oh, I miss getting buck.
Man, like, we could essentially make these angle mods for like the winter beaters and shit, and like have the snow 740s like going crazy sideways.
Dude, that's a good idea.
There's a lot of potential, yeah.
Do you imagine the blue or the blue
dude,
sedan
the blue sedan.
knuckles?
The NA beater with modded knuckles. Dude, that car's still alive. You guys think I should buy the NA beater back? I should offer that kid, the kid that I sold it to, he still has it. Yeah, I should totally
Duncan?
No, I think his name is Mike. Mike something. Yeah, James's buddy, that's right, yeah. I should totally buy that car back and like take it for another rip this whole winter.
The Energizer Bunny.
I'll give him the same amount that he bought it off me for, $450.
Dude, that's not bad.
Wasn't too bad. Okay guys, so here's our finished product for the knuckles. So these ones are the ones with more ackerman, and these are the ones that are gonna go in the truck. They have less ackerman. So if you look, if we put like basically a piece of metal straight in line with the ball joint holes, you'll see where the tie rod attachment hole point is pretty close to directly in line with those ball joint holes. Whereas if you look at this one, from those ball joint holes, it's not quite as in line with it. It's pushed off to the left a bit. So these are the ones that we're going to put in Scott's car. These are basically a direct replica of the ones that were in the 940. Very, very similar. So if you guys are doing this yourself, I would basically keep it similar ackerman to what the factory is. So just put something, basically make sure it's identically in line with the two ball joint holes, and measure where the factory location is as far as distance this way from those holes. And then when you're shortening the knuckle and, you know, cutting what you're cutting out, so you're basically going to cut 1.25 inches out, yeah, just give it a very similar amount of ackerman and you weld it together. And yeah, it's tough to say. So these are going to be experimental knuckles with less ackerman. We're going to see how it goes with the truck on another episode. So I'm super stoked to test them out. We're going to be installing them in the truck sometimes this week because we got to get them ready for the Agassiz event this weekend. And then Scott's we're actually going to install tonight because he's got to drive to work tomorrow with his new knuckles. So yeah, that should be pretty fun. We're gonna go home right now and install them, and we might have a little bit of time to go for a cruise. Yeah, test them out a bit. Do some crazy parallel parking or something like that. Okay guys, so when doing this yourself, know that you're taking, you know, the risk into your own hands, because we're not professionals at doing this, and if you don't get these welds right and you don't weld it very structural, then you know the last thing you want is that knuckle snapping off and one of your tie rods basically having no more control over the vehicle, right? So do this at your own risk is what I want to say, and make sure you have an adequate welder, and read up on Ackerman before you do this yourself. You know, get a good idea of what's going on to understand how to make your own knuckle. It seems from our testing that 1.25 inches removed from the knuckle is a really good ballpark. It seems we don't quite get over center, but we still get a ton of angle. Like I'd say these knuckles will probably give us about 65 degrees, 60 to 65 around there. I know a stock Volvo knuckle is about 45 degrees, so it's a very big improvement, and you'll definitely notice it when you're drifting. So yeah, I'm really stoked to test these out. I guess we'll go do that. Alright guys, so today is day 2 of this video. We got back fairly late last night to Scott's house, and you know, it was like pitch black when we were putting this back together. So I didn't bother to film. I figured I'd just let you guys know what's going on today. So the knuckles are installed. As you can see here, we got our modified knuckle. So I guess the thing about having these modded knuckles is the hub, the whole steering assembly is going to turn a lot more, right? So generally you're going to run into issues with rubbing of your wheels. To combat this, you need really low offset wheels that are, you know, not super wide. You don't want like a 10-inch, 9-inch wide wheel. The max I'd recommend going is like an 8-inch wide. I've gotten away with that, and just a tiny bit of rubbing. So basically what we're doing here is Scott is adding another slip-on spacer because bolt-on spacer. We only had this one on last night, and as you guys can see, it's rubbing really bad here and here. So if we stick it out a little bit more, that's gonna bring our wheel farther away from the inner fender. It doesn't look like it's rubbing anywhere up here yet. Now with this extra spacer, it might start rubbing on the outside. Thing about that though is we can easily bang this with a fender to widen that, whereas this is the actual frame rail, so you can't really bend that all that much. So your best bet is just to go wide. So in the, you know, like previous attempts with knuckles and stuff on my cars, I've always ran these wheels and another set of 0 offset 8-inch wide wheels. So these ones on the front of the black car are 15x7, and the wheel itself is a -10, and then combine that with a 32 millimeter spacer in the front, that gives us about -42 offset. So that is plenty. So it's a 7-inch wide wheel with -42 offset. Generally that clears everything. So yeah, basically we're hoping that once we put this extra spacer on, we're not gonna rub on the inner fender like Scott was just doing. And then we're gonna, yeah, and I guess because of that, it's gonna stick out so far that we're gonna have to bang the front fender out a little more. So we're gonna do that right now. And I guess I could show you guys, once we have the wheels on and everything back together, I'll show you guys the difference of Scott's angle versus the black car, because the black car still has stock knuckles in it. So yeah, we'll bang those fenders out and we'll get the wheels on and show you guys what it looks like. Also guys, I want to just say something about the double stack spacer here. Some of you are probably thinking like, this is a terrible idea, it's so dangerous, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. But this is an actual true H&R hub centric spacer. So at least it's hub centric, and you know, these are good quality spacers. You're not going to have them snapping off or anything stupid like that. So yeah, if you guys are getting spacers, get one big enough that you only have to run one. We just didn't, you know, we never knew that Scott was actually going to do angle mods on this thing or anything like that. We didn't really get that far with the build, but it's going farther than Scott had anticipated. So we're gonna have to do the double stack so he can clear. And as you guys can see, it's also rubbing pretty bad on this side too. So yeah, we're gonna bang out the fender so we can fit a bit more wide, and maybe we should bang out here too, just to be safe. But yeah, so that's what we're gonna do right now. Okay, so what's the total offset of this setup with the spacers? So this wheel is a plus 35.
Plus 35, and then a 30 and a 30. So we're negative 25.
Is that the right math?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we're
Yeah.
30 to 5, and then, oh. No, we're 30 to negative 5, or positive 5. Yeah, okay, we're good.
Negative 25 total?
25 total.
Okay, yeah, so this is negative 25 offset on a 8-inch wide wheel. So we're not too sure if this is gonna clear or not. It's gonna be really close if it doesn't clear. We're not gonna rub as hard. We're just gonna rub farther down in the angle. So, but yeah, guys, I don't really have an exact answer for what size and offset wheels you should run. All I know is that my setup with the 7-inch wide negative 42, that clears plenty. So I'm not too sure exactly what you can run, but that's kind of a good ballpark to go with. Make sure your offset is nice and low. You want that wheel sticking way out there. It's a lot easier to bang the outer fender just in here and stuff, because that actually moves, whereas you can't really bang too much of the frame rail. You don't want to be bending that too much. So yeah, now is the moment of truth, I guess. All right, guys, so this is where we're at right now. This is definitely more angle than stock, how it is right now. But if you look right here, we're still rubbing right here. So we're gonna take a mallet and beat that in, and it seems like that is the only place that it's rubbing. So we're gonna be able to get a little more angle once we rub that out, or once we bang it out, because that's what's limiting the wheels from turning any farther now, is just the tire hitting the inner fender. So I guess we're gonna jack it up again, a bit more banging, and then we're gonna have even more angle. So it's good to get the maximum, not have tires and rims as the limiting factor on your angle setup. Just, you know, stand some way out there and bang out your fenders nicely, and you won't have a problem. So that's what we're gonna do right now, see if we can get a little more than this. Here, let's take a before and after. All right, guys, so we bang that out and we're just barely clearing here. It's like so close to touching the fender, but just barely. I think we're making it. So now it might be rubbing again on the inside of the fender, but just barely. So not a problem. So here's kind of the angle we're working with here. It looks pretty good. Yeah, that's definitely more than stock. Oh yeah. It looks crazy. So I take it back. I said at the earlier point in the video that, you know, we get like 65 degrees. It's probably not quite that much, but I looked it up, and the stock 740 is roughly 45. So I'd say this is probably another 10 degrees, 55, around there. Definitely makes a huge difference when you're drifting. Like, Scott's gonna be able to catch some pretty good throws. So for example, let's compare this side. So there's this angle right here. Compare that. Actually, here, I'll just take a picture. All right, guys, so the first picture I showed you is Scott's car at full lock on that side, and then the second picture is my wagon. If you take a good look at those, it's about, yeah, I'd say a good 10 degrees at least. It's definitely gonna make a huge difference. We just had to adjust Scott's tie rods quite substantially, because after you do this, it's just gonna completely change how your alignment is. So if you're gonna do this yourself, definitely make sure you get an alignment after. We eyeball aligned it. It should be good for now, but Scott's gonna get a proper one done when he goes to work tomorrow. So yeah, guys, that's basically the video of how we modify the Volvo steering knuckles for more steering angle, better for drifting. I'm pretty stoked. Scott's gonna really enjoy this, I can tell. It's gonna be good because he's gonna have it for the event that's coming up this weekend in Agassiz Speedway. So that's our circle track that we go to. And then 2 weekends after that, Matt Surrey. It's going to be sweet because we're going to have 3 Volvos in total up there with angle mods. So our trains should mend together pretty nicely, let's say. So anyways, guys, that's kind of a wrap up of our video. No drifting today. Sorry, one more video like this. But yeah, soon to come drifting videos very soon. So definitely stay tuned for that. I guess I'll say right now, I mentioned on my Instagram that the wagon shirt is in production. So Davis is going to be making the wagon shirt. Volvo Drift Dark Ale. We haven't quite figured out what we want it to be yet. Maybe we'll make it a cider. I don't know. It's going to be some type of dark beer type substance. So, but yeah, here's the Volvo Drift Ale. Here's the Volvo Drift Lager. And finally, the wagon's coming for you. So yeah, it's going to be on the Teespring store within a week here. So stay tuned for that. What else is coming on the channel? Yeah, you guys may be seeing some street drifting coming up. So don't get too hyped, but you can probably see some street drifting coming pretty soon. Yeah, it's going to happen. So we figured out a way to make it okay, let's just say. Anyways, guys, like and subscribe for overclocked Volvos. Peace out.